volatile, whether there's some financial difficulty. Prabhupada had a severe financial difficulty. He had his money all invested in his business, and then the business failed. So then he had no money, nothing. This can happen in life at any time. Health can fail, finances can fail. In fact, it will. Everything fails in this world, no matter how you try to hold it together. But if we have this sincere idea that I'm going to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and through his representatives, I'm going to spread the Krishna consciousness movement to the best of my ability from whatever I have, then Krishna, Lord Chaitanya's mercy will act automatically. He'll empower us. So we can be in a wheelchair, we can lose our speech, we can lose our, whatever it is, material facility. If we're sincere, then Mahaprabhu will empower us. So we've been given a chance to show our sincerity by standing up to whatever kinds of obstacles or limitations appear to be there. So Kautakana Kapu, as you're talking about, it seems like difficult to walk out the door. How am I going to do this? But you go anyway. And then you go and you try something, and then you see that Mahaprabhu's mercy becomes manifest automatically. And every day we have to challenge ourselves throughout this lifetime. And by that, we become strong in Krishna consciousness by seeing how Mahaprabhu's mercy is everything. All these other material facilities, they're not guaranteed, but Mahaprabhu's mercy, that's guaranteed if you simply are sincere and do menial service. Thank you. Let's see if there's any more
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. This is
reflections. Hare Krishna.
Morning, Guru Maharaj. Maharaj, I really like the point that I really like the point when you said Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. You gave those 4 points. That's automatic. It never goes in vain. It is recorded in your spiritual account, and it fructifies in time. It was very hopeful for me, because a lot of times when we do service, because our mind is trained to expect immediate, instant results, we ask ourselves, oh, like I've heard so many people say, I'm doing my japa, but why am I not progressing? And sometimes I wonder, I'm doing my service. Maharaj says, do the best you can from where you are. And to the best of my knowledge, I am doing that, but why am I not moving forward? And it was so wonderful to hear you say that, it fructifies in time. We cannot demand things to happen when we want them to happen. But his mercy is a solid fact. It's there, it's accumulating, and when the cup overflows, then you will get that mercy that you need. My question was, does that mercy apply to every part of our life? Like sometimes I notice that our chanting is not really that good. Well, you keep doing it and then you do your service. And over time, does it overflow into your chanting as well, or is it a separate factor altogether?
No, nothing's separate. Everything relates to everything else. In other words, it's all interconnected. My point is that every discipline or lack of discipline in our life will affect us systemically in all different ways. So our service will help our chanting, and our chanting will help our service. And also, as you mentioned in the beginning, the science of seeds, the seeds we plant, that they'll have an effect. In fact, this is mentioned in the Bhagavatam in the 6th canto, that we have all these seeds of sinful activities from previous lives and maybe this life as well. And these things have an effect. You can get rid of them by prayashchitta, which means just mow them down. But then when the next rain comes, they come back up again. They're very difficult to get rid of. And this is also, we can see during this virus pandemic, that some seeds, and they get passed on, and it's very subtle. It starts from a subtle level. We can't even see these little devices that are loose in the world, but they have their effect externally. So everything that we do has an effect. So on a very subtle level, when we're doing menial service, when we're practicing chanting with attention, those are planting these very powerful seeds, and they will fructify and they will grow in our life. So we have to keep introducing those amidst all the other jungle of other kinds of seeds that we've planted before. But the power of the bhakti seed is that we'll vanquish all the other ones if we keep investing in it. Thank you.
I wanted to also share, Maharaj, that, I hope it's helpful for everybody else. Yeah, I plan to do this reading. I plan to do that. I print out all these sheets of shlokas that you tell us to do in the chat and this and that. And I had a bundle full, and I was looking at them thinking, I should just throw this away. I'm never going to make that cut and I won't reach it. And then this happened and I was stuck at home and I had these hours in the morning. And when I opened the book, I was ready. I had all these shlokas printed and everything was ready. And I was amazed that, if you just hold on to the stuff that you've collected, the good seeds, just don't give up and you keep hold on to them. A time will come when I was just amazed that it was ready for me and I could just read through them every day. It was amazing for me to realize that everything had a plan.
Yes, that's a really nice lesson to learn. We may not be able to fully manifest all our practices of devotional service at a certain point of our life, but if we keep them in place, then the time will come when we'll be able to mature and take full advantage of them. Look, we have Vaikuntha Nayaka, Prabhu, all the way from Mysore.
Guru Maharaja.
Hare Krishna.
All to you. The point that you mentioned about the mind being a kind of a recording device, that really struck me. And a couple of other points that you told, that you might not know how it's working, but then the science behind it or something, but it works. And the latest point that you mentioned, that okay, that you might have put something in the mind many months back or years ago, but then it will now show up, right? I was thinking how this is so similar to YouTube, right? The videos that YouTube recommends for you are not random. They are based on the conscious choices I made. And sometimes the choices I made many years ago, YouTube still remembers it and says, hey, maybe you would like to see that. And if you are not liking the recommendations, you can keep complaining, or you can take a conscious decision to make intelligent choices of the videos that you see. And YouTube constantly notes it down and sure, and that I guess is like the Cheto Darpana Marjanam, and you get a new set of videos in your feed. So I thought how the YouTube is so similar to the way the mind works, like that with all that artificial intelligence. Krishna's natural intelligence is so brilliant.
Absolutely. There's such a good example. And the way advertising is nowadays, isn't it? That if you look at a backpack online, then for the next 10 years, every time you come to another page, backpacks will come up. How about this backpack? How about that pack? Blue, red? And so our mind does that too. It's very detailed in that way. So these are mentioned by Krishna in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He talks about purva samskara. The previous impressions, they have a great effect on us. So it takes a practice to replace those with the new impressions about the chanting of the holy name. See, every sensual experience we've ever had gets recorded. And we remember those things. You might just be sitting there doing an innocuous activity, and then all of a sudden a sense desire comes into your mental system that, remember when you tasted this? Remember when you looked at that? And then it'll suggest to you, why don't you do it again? And if you do it again, then it becomes a stronger impression. And that's how people become addicted to something. They do it again and again and again, and then the impression becomes so strong that they can't stop doing it. Even when the Buddhi comes and says, don't do this anymore, you're killing yourself. He said, I can't stop, it's too strong. So this is an acute form of material attachment that takes place within the mind through the agency of the mind. But this can be overwritten, as you're pointing out, by taking up the impressions, getting new impressions of my connection with Krishna. And then also, as Krishna mentions, by detachment. We're practicing detachment through concentration on hearing Krishna Katha or hearing Krishna's holy name, even despite the fact that there are distractions around. When I make the conscious decision to keep hitting that button that, no, I'm going to listen to this and not to that other noise, then after a while, as you're pointing out, then the selection choices, they all start coming up, the same thing. All the YouTube shows are like, oh, you want to hear from from this devotee, that devotee, here's something else for you. And that's a really apt example that we can all relate to. Thank you very much, Vaikuntha Naika. Well done.
There are some comments on Facebook.
Yes, let's hear the comments on Facebook.
Yeah, so this morning, Madhav Prem Prabhu and Padma Kumari Mataji are monitoring the Facebook, and they have sent me these messages. The first one is from Gail Rasangi Louis Mataji. She says, love it. Remove the little critters gently.
Yeah, they're vegans. How can you get angry with them? They're just trying to have a little snack.
And then along the same topic of snails, there is some advice from Bhakta Alex Zharino. He says that marigold flowers help keeping the snails away from cabbage.
Well, that's nice, except for the fact when they're young that they eat the marigolds too. But thank you, that's good advice.
We have Preeti Radhika Mataji, and she says that she really liked that with sincerity, we can become a good candidate for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, which is automatic and goes into our spiritual account. I think this point pleased everybody. And I was also thinking about like contrasting that with the material world, that in the material world, whatever you do, for example, if you're at work and you work really hard, then things don't come automatically. You have to toot your horn, you have to kind of, butter up your boss, and then you get the things. But here, the automatic thing kind of struck that, if you are doing the things sincerely and right, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes care of you. So that was,
That's right. That's why there's nobody better than Lord Chaitanya. So true. Everyone should take shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and just take shelter of his lotus feet. Tirtaspadam Shiva Varinji Nutam Sharanyam. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva know this, and therefore they understand that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet are the sum total of all the holy places. So even if you're stuck in your home in Northern California, in Mysore, in North Carolina, all these places, then Fremont, I'm trying to recognize everybody here. If you take shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it means that you're going to all the holy places. Go ahead, Shraddha.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. And then Bhaktin Kamla says that her reflection is that we have to water the right seeds in our heart. The right seeds.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Malini Devi Dasa here.
Hare Krishna, Malini, good to see you. Is that your kitchen, or is that one of those fancy backdrops, virtual backdrops?
No, this is the kitchen.
That's the real thing, huh? That's a nice kitchen you got there.
We should make right ahead. I was saying we should make her kitchen as a backdrop.
Yeah.
I really like the point that you mentioned, that there is no effort required for hearing the sound vibration or Krishna Katha. Because most of the times what happens is when you're trying to read something, trying to remember or memorize, it actually doesn't stick to your heart so much. But submissive hearing, just for the sake of hearing, actually, because Krishna is there within the sound vibration, then automatically he will manifest. So that was a very powerful point.
Isn't it though? Yeah.
Yes.
I'll read it again for you. Sanatana Goswami writes in relationship to the Tava Katamritam verse, there is no effort required for hearing Krishna Katha. The meaning manifests by its own power, not through qualification. There is no dependence even on understanding the meaning. Hearing itself is auspicious. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. And I was also thinking of all the people who get the books, and even though they don't understand, if they just try to read, then it will automatically manifest in their hearts.
Oh yeah, see, we're getting information from our environment all the time, but what is the quality of the information? For instance, if you tune into CNN, you get information, but it's very motivated. They're thinking about how to present it in a certain way because they want to get money back in return. And so they have to be motivated. Avaishnava makun girnam putam harikatam ritam shavanam naiva kartavyam Sarpochista yatapaya. Sanatana Goswami says, if somebody's giving you information, but they have some materialistic motivation behind it, then it's going to have a bad effect. So now, where do you get your information from? Now, this is mentioned in all realms, all the various schools of thought in the darshans, for instance, Vedavyas and Vedanta, and the Patanjali in his yoga teachings, the psychology of yoga and the mind. How do you get the mind to go in a better direction, get better information? Where do you get it? From Shastra. So they all point this out. Swadhyaya means that you have to hear from Shastra every day, because that's the best information. It's coming down to us from a pristine source. And so when you get that and you feed it into your mind, whether you know or not know, you're reprogramming your mind to a higher level of thought. And you can feel this. If you read, for instance, the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is talking about how you should be determined, how you should go back again and again to hearing the holy name and being fixed. And you'll actually, by hearing it, you'll start to develop the qualities, because your intelligence, intelligence is mostly made, it's a material object, but it's made in a subtle way. Mostly predominance is of sattva gun. And when you hear the transcendental literature, it appeals to the buddhi. The buddhi likes that because it's in a very high mode originally. It just gets contaminated and then it misdirects us. So when we expose ourselves to hearing these transcendental sound vibrations from the Shastra, we can reprogram our intelligence. And then it becomes very deliberate that now actually, instead of doing the wrong thing, I want to do the right thing. That's where the strength comes from. So in order to practice even meditation in the Yoga Sutras, it's mentioned by Patanjali every day. It's not just sitting there and meditating. You actually have to hear Shastra every day in order to be strengthened. Thank you.
There's a
Yes.
follow-up question to what you were mentioning. There's a follow-up there.
Yes.
And the question is that, does this mean that the Sanskrit prayers also work without understanding the meaning?
Oh, yes. They're very powerful. But the more you imbibe the meaning, the more it will go deeply into the buddhi. I mean, the sound vibration itself is definitely purifying, but we should, why do you think Prabhupada took the trouble to put the word for word meanings? If it was just good enough, he would just say, you know, put the Sanskrit or the translation, but he wanted us every day to go into the meaning itself, because it's very entertaining, actually. When you hear, oh, this word means this, that word means that, it all makes sense, it fits together, then we start to develop what's called vivek. Our buddhi develops discrimination, and we start saying this, not that. And it becomes very, we become very deliberate in the way that we're moving around. Are those, are you getting Rasa Malai, Gita Priya? I saw some Rasa Malai over there. Anyway,
So,
Hare Krishna.
Mera, there are more comments coming on Facebook, but I think Madhav Govinda Prabhu wanted to go on Zoom.
Madhava Govinda, are you in Canada?
Yes, Maharaj.
It looks very effulgent up there.
Yeah.
Like you're almost like hovering in the, you know, above, you've gone beyond the viraja. And now you're in the spiritual effulgence of the spiritual world. Please tell us.
I was
Yes.
just appreciating the point that you mentioned, that how when we are hearing Krishna Katha, it's like having valuable gems. And when you have those gems, then all the other things we can understand that as slipping away, you know, or all the other things that will be there.
Yeah, that's right. And then you actually feel wealthy no matter where you are. This is the wealth of the Brahmanas don't need anything because they're already wealthy. Their wealth comes from being fully absorbed in Bhagavatam. And they're feeling that, okay, I'm happy because I have this. And then what else do you need in life? Just Prabhupada mentions one Brahmana, he was so poor, he was teaching students and they could only give tiny little bit as dakshina. And so every day, all he'd have was some rice and some tamarind leaves. And that's all they could afford. And someone came and said, oh, let us, get you a better place, better food and everything like that. He said, no, I'm happy. I'm teaching Bhagavatam and I have rice with tamarind. What else do you need in life? So this is the satisfaction of somebody who has these gems. Thank you. Nice points. Good to see you.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam.
Jai.
Maharaj, I just, out of the lecture, what I heard, what really actually made an impression on me is that one has to do menial service, and that's the way to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy. And the Lord Chaitanya's mercy manifests by itself, like its own power, not by qualification.
That's right. Yes. So menial means something that's very simple. You're doing it by hand labor. And if you do that, then the natural satisfaction arises in the heart because Lord Chaitanya's mercy.
Yeah. I also, interesting thing is that a few days ago, I was reading about Jayapataka Maharaj, and it so happened that today morning I thought about him, and then you mentioned in the lecture, and I read that Jayapataka Maharaj was is actually Lord Chaitanya's, one of Lord Chaitanya's, confidential associates. That's what I was reading.
Well, Prabhupada writes about this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He gives an astounding purport where he mentions Narottam Das Thakur's bhajan, Gaurangera Duti Pada. And there, this is a mention of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he appeared. These are all liberated souls. But then Narottam Das Thakur goes on to say, and Prabhupada elaborates upon this in his purport, that don't think that only those who were there present with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were these liberated souls, but anyone who's engaging wholeheartedly in the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement also is counted as one of the eternal associates of the Lord. He even calls Nitya Siddha. So this is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that those who enter into this ocean of Sankirtan, they are picked up by his mercy and carried to the highest position. And Prabhupada mentions in the Upadeshamrita that the qualification you can see for someone who's on the highest position of devotional service is he or she's thinking 24 hours a day about how to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. So this is how Maharaj thinks. He's always thinking, his mind, his intelligence is only there for thinking like how to spread Krishna consciousness, how to make other people come to this, how to make sure more people get books, how to make sure other people get trained and so forth. That's the hallmark of the most advanced devotee, how many devotees that he or she can make. Another point?
Maharaj?
Yes?
This is Tadiya Sevdas.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, talking about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I hear, I remember Mahaprabhu's instruction, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jivaha, Guru Krishna Prasade Phaya Bhakti Lata Bhaya. I was just thinking, there are so many jivas within this material creation, they're taking birth and they're dying. Recently we see, even from coronavirus, people are dying like birds, in countries like Italy and Spain. But how many of them have really gotten the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So we are so fortunate that we, by the mercy of maybe our Ajnata Sukriti or by the mercy of Guru or Krishna, we got the mercy and we are very lucky actually. And we should not take this mercy lightly.
Very good point. Nice observation. So we should not take it lightly ourselves, and we should also give it to as many people as possible so they can take advantage. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing. So now I just want to make a few points about availing ourselves to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. And one point is about establishing atmosphere. Everyone is affected by the atmosphere, both externally and internally. So Srila Prabhupada writes that we should establish the atmosphere in which we can hear, chant, and serve. We should establish the atmosphere in which we can hear, chant, and serve. Hear, chant, and serve. So this is also obviously the advice given by Rupa Goswami, Tanama Rupa Charitari Sukirtananu, Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyoja, Tishtan Raje Tananuragi Tananugami, Kalam Nayed Akilam Ityupadesha Saram. That the essence of all advice is to establish an atmosphere in which we can hear, chant, and serve all the time. So then, as Krishna mentions in his talks to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Yajimam, he said, always worship me. So we should, as Krishna recommends in both the Gita and the Bhagavatam, worship him and also worship his devotees, Yaji. And Namaskaru, we should, Namaskaru means to give up everything, including the false ego, that I'm the savior. Krishna says in the Gita, Suridam, sort of, that I'm the friend of all living entities, means he's the savior. He's the one who saves. It's not us who do it. We should not think, like sometimes they're big philanthropists and they think about how, well, I'm saving people, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But in the mood of service to Krishna, we shouldn't think like I'm the big savior, I'm helping people. No, it's Krishna. I'm just a representative of Krishna. So we should go out into the world with an empowered heart. If we have this mood that I'm not the savior, Krishna is the savior. I'm not the one to be glorified because I'm preaching. I'm not to be glorified because I'm doing anything. I'm just a menial servant of Krishna's and I'm a representative. Then this is what we have, is an empowered heart. So if we move about the world with an empowered heart, then we'll feel enlivened all the time. And then from the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.32, Prabhupada writes, in the absence of taste, utilize whatever you have in the service of the Sankirtan movement. In the absence of taste. So we may not have taste right away for chanting Hare Krishna or hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. But in the Gita, Krishna says, Yat koroshi adashnashi yat johosi dadasi yat tapasasi kontea tat kurushva mararpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer and give away, do as an offering to me. And Prabhupada says that we should do whatever we do in our life to help spread the Sankirtan movement. This is one of the ways in which we can get that mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even if we don't have taste yet for all the practices like hearing and chanting. And then we can think about how we're serving Srila Prabhupada as our, hey Govinda, about we're serving Srila Prabhupada. And through following his movement, he set up his movement, the Krishna conscious movement, to follow the parampara, to follow his guru, to follow Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So by cooperating, participating in this movement for spreading Krishna conscious movement all over the world, then Prabhupada's heart opens to us. And what's in his heart? The 6 Goswamis are there. All the acharyas are there in Prabhupada's heart. Krishna's there in his heart. Love for Krishna is in his heart. And Krishna's pastimes. The most refined chanting of Krishna's names is there within his heart. These are what we want. These are the gems that we're talking about. So by serving our founder Acharya through cooperating with this movement, which is very difficult to hold together. You have to use all your life's resources. Just our little ISV project here, some of us been here 22 years, using all our resources, our extra time and everything in this one little place. But what's the result? Prabhupada's heart is opening to you. And all these things, the 6 Goswamis are coming to you. all the acharyas, the Krishna, love for Krishna, the most refined knowledge and the process of chanting are coming to you. Krishna's pastimes will come to you through this acharya upasanam, worshiping the acharya by giving your life to his process. And another way that you can stay fixed on Lord Chaitanya's mercy is to have an altar at home and to chant in front of your altar, because we can take shelter there. You can be absorbed in working in your house and then taking care of the house and the family and think this is very difficult. But when you come in front of your home altar, then you feel relief. Oh, Krishna's here, everything's okay. And also, if you keep Srimad Bhagavatam in your house and all of Prabhupada's books, and if you follow the 4 regulated principles and instructions of the Acharya, no matter where you are, whatever the outside situation, you'll be protected internally by the mercy of the Lord. So let's just see if there's any last reflections before we have Guru Puja.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Devavrata.
Jai, I really loved your point about cooperating in the Sankirtan movement. I've been serving in the deity kitchen just about every day, and I'm kind of like an assistant to the cook. And what I've noticed, my realization from working in the kitchen, is that every cook has a particular mood that they carry when they enter the kitchen. And as an assistant to the cook, the best way to perform your service is to try to tune into the mood that they have and just assist the mood that they have. Don't try to implement your own ideas, even though you may have an idea, like you are a cook, you know how to do certain things in the kitchen. At that time and circumstance, you have to just serve the mood of that particular cook. And when you do that, things move so smoothly. They become happy with you, you become happy with them, and Krishna becomes happy with the offering.
Very nice example. This is realized knowledge. And that's the system, actually, the system for advancing devotional service is to attach yourself to a devotee who's doing some significant service, and then be of service to that devotee, be an apprentice devotee. And everyone can find someone in their upline to hook onto, and then emulate that person's mood, serve that person, and then naturally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy will flow down. Excellent, Devavrata Prabhu. Very good.
I was thinking, Maharaj, that this cooperation also involves a little bit of surrender from our side, like surrender our ego.
That's true. It does.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yes. Oh, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to make a comment about actually just what Mother Shraddha Mataji was saying just now about how it requires some surrender. And I was thinking about your point on humility and doing menial service to Lord Chaitanya. Because in my situation now, I'm not able to do the service that I was doing before. And it's been like very challenging for me because it's kind of been reduced from dressing, and like I can still I can do a little bit of cooking, but I have to not bring it into the kitchen. I have to now leave it, like it's kind of, everything's been reduced. And so I've been trying to really accept that as Krishna's mercy and realize that I have to not be attached to doing things the way that I think that I should do them, and that I have to cooperate and just understand that this is the way that I have to serve now and be satisfied with that.
Yes, nice practical example. There are always going to be shifts in our external circumstances in life. The body gets older, world situation changes, and then this way of adapting to whatever the situation is in order to fully invest ourselves in service. This is the inventive way to get through life and make one's life completely successful. Don't waste any time thinking, why me? And don't waste any time thinking like, now I can't do anything. Just take what you can do right now and invest yourself in it. And it always expands. And there's always a lesson behind it when there's some obstacle, actually. And then we don't hesitate, but we go ahead despite the obstacle and do what we can. We find new and better ways, and our service expands from that point. Thank you for setting such a good example in that way. Are you all stuck inside now there in Florida?
Basically, yes. Yeah.
That's good. This is called nigama. The nigamas mean these are the literatures that take us within. And this is just the opportunity we have now to be in the Chaturmasya mode and to find out, what do I have within? How can I organize my internal environment so much so that when I do get more of an expanded field for service, I'll be able to take more advantage of it. Actually, you know, the gopis who were held back from the rasa dance by their families, they couldn't go out. Their families physically held them back. They made more advancement than anybody because of the intensity of the fire within their hearts to go see Krishna and not being able to do it. That internal desire became so hot that it burned off any last vestiges of connection to the material world and so forth. So these kinds of restrictions are meant to help us develop a red hot desire to serve even more. Hare Krishna.
Bharat, do you have time for one question, to take one question?
Okay.
This is from Sundar Prabhu, and it's on chat, and I'm assuming that it is
Definitely if it's
on
from
and on.
Sundar Prabhu. We never skip anything from Sundar Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj. So the question is that, can you please elaborate on what is menial service? Is it a state of consciousness, or is it related to external activity?
Well, it has a lot to do with the consciousness. A menial, the actual definition of it is work not requiring much skill and lacking prestige. It comes from French, misne, which means household. It's like ordinary kind of things. That's the sense of it. But there's this other phrase that Prabhupada used to say is about doing the needful. You do what needs to be done. You don't consider this is my position, it's not my position to do this. I only do these kinds of things. When you see devotees who are, for instance, you see Radhanath Maharaj, such an exalted soul, and then like if you watch him and he'll do the needful. Something needs to be done, you know, he'll clean it himself. I know when I had, I've different devotees stayed in my house. Jayadvaita Maharaj, he'd stay here, and then, you know, he'd eat breakfast and he'd insist going over and washing his own plates. He wouldn't let anybody touch it. He wanted to wash them. And you see that those who, whatever their position is, they have this sense that, yeah, let me do the simple, needful things. So it is a mentality, and a lot of it has to do with watching and seeing what needs to be done for Krishna, and not discriminating that that's not my station. I don't do that. I don't touch these things because I'm a this, I'm a that. The devotees don't have those designations, or I should say those devotees who don't have those designations, they're willing to do anything for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They really attract the attention of Mahaprabhu. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he talked about this plan of spreading the holy name through the Namhata, and he drew up the whole marketing plan, like the Amway thing. They copied it. But then he said, what would his position be in this whole marketing scheme? He said that he was the sweeper in the marketplace. He just come and clean up afterwards. And then another great soul after him said that I just want to be one stick in the broom of Bhaktivinoda Thakur that's sweeping the marketplace. So the devotees consider themselves just instrumental in helping whoever is spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. And those devotees become empowered because of their mentality. They're open to do anything to spread Krishna consciousness. One of the stories that always really touches me, and it reminds me of the amount of surrender and mood of this menial service that the devotees had for Prabhupada, was when Prabhupada was once challenged at a talk. Some man, I think he was a Hindu man, said, "So you're spreading Krishna consciousness here and there, but what about in Muslim countries?" In other words, he was saying to Prabhupada, yeah, you couldn't do it in a Muslim country. So then Prabhupada told Gargamuni and Brahmananda to immediately go to Pakistan to spread Krishna consciousness. And they just stopped whatever they were doing. Before Prabhupada could retract it, which he did a couple days later or even a day later, because he heard there was unrest there and so forth, they had already gotten their tickets and were on their way and actually landed there because they just said, Prabhupada said, go spread Krishna consciousness there, we're going. So there's this sense of being sold out to the instruction of the spiritual master. That's also the mood of being a menial servant. Good to see you, Sundar Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Are
Krishna.
you all there in your Bhajan Kutir?
What is that, Prabhu?
You're in your Bhajan Kutir doing Chaturmasya.
Yes, Prabhu.
Eat off the floor once a day.
Yes, sure, Prabhu.
Okay. No, I wasn't saying you have to do that. I was surmising that's maybe what you're doing. Hare Krishna. Well, thanks to everybody who joined today. And now we're going to have the Guru Puja. Namasheshtam manamapi shachiputram atra surupam shirupam tasyagrajam uruparim maturim goshadakim Radha Kundam Girivaramoho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shiguru Tanvatosmi He Guru Gyanada Dina Bando Swananda Data Kuranaika Sindo Vrindavana Sinanita Avatar Prasida Radha Pranaya Pracharo. Hey, where's the last verse?
I don't know, Maharaj. Yeah.
We don't have it?
Yeah,
Okay.
this one doesn't have it. Yeah.
Translation. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother, Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radhakunda and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. No. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon us. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only way is to have our consciousness purified by the blood emanating from his lotus mouth. This lotus feet is the perfection and fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Kahati Sadna Shri Guru Charana Bando Mui Savadana Mate Bando Mui Savadana Mate prashade bai bhavato riya jai prashade
Bhagavato
Krishna prapti hoy jai te Dukkha padma bhakya chitete koya ikya
दस बज रहे हो नेपाल का उठा दो
padma bhakya chitete koya ikya arna kori ho mane asha arna kori ho mane asha Shri Guru Charane Ratiye Shayutama Gati Shri Guru Charane Ratiye Shayutama Jai Prashade Pure Sarva Asha Jai Prashade Pure Sarva Asha Chakudam Dino Jai Janmi Janmi Prabhu She Chakudam Divya Gyan Rere Pokashita Prema Bhakti Ja Hoite Abhidya Vina Sajate Dekai Jahara Charita Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Kanad Loke Agajivana Prabhu Gora Toya Dehamore Padachaya Deve Jas Kushik Tribhuvana Deve Jas Kushik Tribhuvana Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jaya Prabhupada Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatari Shatarine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatadi Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jeev Jago Jeev Jago Gaura Chandra Bole Kota Nidra Jao Maya Pishachira Kole Kota Nidra Jao Maya Pishachira Kole Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Bajiva Boliya Sansara Vitare Jiva Boliya Sansara Vitare Bhuliya Rohile Tumi Abhijara Bare Bhuliya Rohile Abhijara Bare Hey! Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare everybody Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Tomare loite Hoinu avatara Tomare loite Hoinu Mi bina bandhu aru Keache tomara Ami bina bandhu aru Keache tomara Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Enne Chia Baulagi. Hari Nam Maha Mantra Lao Tu Minagi. Hari Nam Maha Mantra Lao Tu Minagi. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna. Louder, louder. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Thakur Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charani Poriya Thakur
அந்த மாதிரி அதெல்லாம் அது கொஞ்சம் கிளீனினஸ் இது பார்க்கும்போது அதுதான்
ஹரிதோ ஹரிதோ.
வெரி குட்.
முடிவை கட் பண்ணிட்டியா?
Hey, Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama
Hare Krishna
Krishna Hare Rama
Krishna
Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna. Hare Ram 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 Hare
Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Ram Hare Hare, Rama Rama.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Dance like that.
Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama
Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama
Hare,
Ram Ram.
Hare Hare,
Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Govinda Gopala Hare,
Govinda Gopala Hare
Govinda Gopala
Hare
Radhe Govinda, Radhe Gopala, Radha Sham Sundar, Radha Madan Mohan, Gopal Gopal, Hare Hare,
Pranam Hai
भगवान
Go.
को मेरे बार बार
Bar
प्रणाम है
शाम को
ऐसे से श्री गणेशाम
को
को
मेरे बार
बारंबार
प्रणाम है
हरि बोल
Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol Hari Hari Bol
Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari
हरि
Bol.
Jai.
Jai
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 Jai.
Jai
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 Jai.
Jai.
When I was a brahmachari, they taught me that the more enthusiastically you say Jai, the more
Jai.
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 Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokupinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki
Jai
Vrindavan Ki. When you say Jai, then you knock away all your problems. They all go flying away. Shri Shri Radhakund Ki
Jai.
Kun Ki
Jai.
Tulsi Ki
Jai.
Devi Ki
Jai.
Gaudiya Vaishnava Ki
Jai.
Jai Shri Haridas Thakur Ki. All glories to some devotee.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to some devotee.
Hare Krishna.
Glories to some devotee.
Hare Krishna
Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Okay, so today it would be a good idea if you could make a list of people who could take a set of Bhagavatams or at least a Bhagavad Gita, or who would like to sponsor some books. So this assignment for today, everybody should contact at least one person today by email or by phone and just tell them that either they should take a set or some books, or they could recommend somebody else. Would anybody volunteer for this challenge? All you have to do is at least one person.
Yes.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Let me put my glasses on to see who I'm counting here.
Please
Okay.
accept my humble obeisance. Please switch on your videos and raise your hand.
Yeah, you can contact at least one person. You can do up to 1,008 people today if you like. But we want some mercy flowing out to the world, and you have to use electronic means to do it. And this will be the assignment for the day, okay? Yes, Pranagokvi.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we'll try.
Divyanga is there?
Yeah.
Divyanga said yes, he will do. Hansa Priya is going to call at least, well, who knows how many, but it's going to be a lot. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
So
Hare
Maharaj,
Krishna. And now from Malini, any report, Sankirtan report?
That is what our plan was also today, that we have a list of all the people who said they might take Bhagavatam when we went door to door. So we have them marked as maybe. So we will call up that list also to see if anybody wants to take now.
Okay. Now, can I share my screen?
No, Maharaj, it's not.
I can't.
Time. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there something that I can bring up?
No, it was something sent to me on my computer. But what I'll describe to you is, I just wanted to tell you that the devotees in North Carolina, who are now all the brahmacharis from the Yuga Dharma ashram, they moved to the farm in North Carolina because they wanted to get out of New York City. So Gopal Champu Prabhu wrote me yesterday morning to tell me that for the first time he realized that fruits and vegetables grow on plants. And he sent me pictures, 5 different pictures of trees and all kinds of plants that were flowering, getting ready to produce fruits out there on the farm. They're at the farm in Prabhupada Village, all of them. But that's an interesting part, but that's not the part that's really going to get you going. Do you want to hear the part that's really going to get you going?
Yeah.
He sent me photographs, and I'll share them with you later, that they had a huge bin, and it was full up with boxes of books that they had packaged and put addresses on that they were sending out to the US Postal Service. And they're distributing hundreds of books just by contacting individuals and asking them to take books. And I think they're pulling ahead of everybody else in the world because they're moving really fast. So today, bite, scratch, beg, borrow, or steal, but try to get some book out the door one way or the other. Hanspriya likes it. She's laughing, so it's going to be good. Okay. Malini, any other instruction for us?
How do we offer to get it to them, Mataji?
Those we will figure it out, Mataji. If you give us the addresses, we'll figure out how to ship them.
Where there's a will, there's a way. We got to have a good report to show the world because they're depending on us. And we're working on ebooks and everything like that. But for right now, bite, scratch, kick, beg, borrow, steal, whatever you got to do. But bust open the storehouse of love of Godhead and make sure some books go out the door. Don't take any risks at all with personal contact. Wear your masks. If you're talking to anybody or going near, and just follow all the rules. Don't touch your face, wash your hands. Don't expose yourself for this at all. The assignment is to do it without any risk, okay? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hare
Any other instruction?
Last time when we called these people, usually nobody answers the phone, but this time everybody answered the phone because they have nothing else to do. And they're actually waiting for some kind of instruction or relief that we felt. So if you call them, just by calling them, they're asking, how did you remember me? How did you call me? So just the gesture of calling itself is very, very pleasing to them.
Okay, so what do you tell them when you call, Malini? Give us a script.
So I called a couple of people whom I met maybe 5 years ago, and I said that Hare Krishna, I'm calling from ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Remember, I met you, and then some people actually remember. I said, yeah, it was a long time ago. And then I told them that I asked them, how are you doing? How is your family up there? And there was one person I called. She moved to Iowa. And then she said, how did you think of me? And then she told me, I'm really stressed out because my parents are very old. They're back in India. I can't go there. And but you just thought of me, makes me so happy. And she actually bursted into tears because she thought somebody's thinking about them. And I spoke to her about Srimad Bhagavatam, and she said that
What did you say when you spoke to her? So how did you breach the subject? We want
So-
we need the, like, between talking and then, so how do you bring up the subject?
Yeah. And then I told her that how difficult times it is outside now. And it is, and the news and everything gives us only hopelessness. But the real hope and the real shelter or real happiness comes from these books, which are written like thousands of years ago, especially 5,000 years ago. Vyasadeva wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, and Vyasadeva kind of predicted the situation we are in currently because we are all disturbed always. And this gives us a relief. And then I shared a couple of stories from Srimad Bhagavatam, and she was very relieved. And she also asked me if there is any reading session that is going on where they can listen to. And I pointed her to our broadcast sessions where she can listen in regularly. And the other thing interesting she was asking me was, is it okay if you read with me for 10 minutes or 15 minutes a day? Or maybe a couple of times in a week? And then I said, yes, we would start it next week. And I felt very encouraging to see that they are looking for something right now. And this is the best time for us to call them and at least introduce them to the sound vibration of the holy name.
Thank you very much. That was very helpful. Now, one thing that came to my mind, or a couple things. One is that we should have a little template to pass on to them immediately when we're talking to them of the reading session links. So it's all in place, and we're all armed with this today. So we have it to pass on to them. And the second is that we should also have the published schedule of events. So really clearly of coming up, which ones are on a regular basis that they can join with all the links. And that can be one of the reasons that you're saying you're calling to hook them up. And then incidentally, you can mention that we have these books and we're mailing them out by US Postal Service. We're wearing gloves, we're wearing masks, everything's sanitized, and it's going out, and people they'll feel some solace to have the books in their homes at the same time. And so then you can tell them we should also have a way they can pay online, like through PayPal, Venmo. All that should be lined up in one template document so that it's easy for all the devotees here in the group to, they have a script that they're calling to say that, we're reaching out to you during this difficult time. The news is just giving people hopelessness, but the only hope really is coming through Bhagavatam and these literatures. And then tell them, invite them to the sessions, and then also invite them to either take some more books or pass on the books to their friends and give a list of people they could pass on to. And that the payment can be easily taken online, either as they can give a lot or a little bit, like that. Does that work?
Yes, Prabhuji.
We can send out a little template this morning to everybody so that you have it. And then everyone can start reaching out to their friends or the previous acquaintances any of those old slips of paper you have, people you met before, people you want to reach out to, anywhere you've been thinking of. Today's the day. We want to see some results by tomorrow, Sunday. So let's see what we can do, okay?
Also, Prabhu, I was just talking to my sister the other day, and she was telling me that she was not able to sleep for the last few days because of so much of information going on. And she said she has a set of Bhagavatam at her home. She said, I decided to start reading them right now because I think that is what I need. I need some relief. So I think people are ready right now.
Yes. And I really like the idea of inviting them into the reading groups. So that's a really important part of this, is lining up whatever events we have so that they can see what they can join into easily without any clunky process that took them off or anything. It's just easy to sign up.
And
Any
also,
other brainstorming in this that you want to add?
also, Mataji, I was thinking that we have given our books to so many people, and most of the people are like, we don't want to read it right now, just sitting on their shelves. But if we can give them this access to a call where they can start reading with someone, and then give them the information where they can sponsor somebody else, we might duplicate our distribution just with that, because a person who gets a sudden taste for Bhagavatam also has a sudden taste to share it with somebody else. So then through them, we might get double our distribution.
Manjula is fired up. I'm feeling a powerful vibration coming out of that Bhajan Kutir over there. We may be in Chaturmasya, but we're going to channel this energy out into the world. Shraddha, you were going to say something.
Yeah, not on this topic though. So we'll just wait.
Okay, what else on this topic? Any other useful hints or questions you want to clarify so that there'll be no impediment for reaching out? And by the way, Ekadashi Vrata, if you can get everybody in Alachua to reach out also. You can do a similar thing, tell Vrindavan to put together a template for all the programs and make sure, and Divyanga, if you're still on the call, he's still there. Every member of Alachua today should send out at least one email or something. How many would that be?
Thousands.
1,000. Okay, thank you. What else? Everybody set?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, go ahead, Shraddha.
So Maharaj, with your permission, I'd like to share a screen here, and you will recognize. Let me know when it shows up for you.
It did.
This is Gopal Champu sent it. I asked him.
Oh, look at that. It's a nice greenhouse, isn't it?
Yes, and I was thinking that we could have a little contest that people try to recognize what plant this is.
That's kale.
Kale.
All right.
That's kale again. It's a different type of kale.
Kale.
Are these pears or apples?
It's a
You grew up in a farm, Manjula Kanta?
With kids, Maharaj, we tend to go on these field trips a lot, so we kind of figured it out.
This may be peach.
Yes,
Peaches.
peach.
We got a bunch of agriculturalists here. I had no idea. I thought it was all engineering and stuff.
We have it in our backyard, Guru Maharaja.
Okay.
We have to come to her backyard.
All right, what else you got for us? Look
Yeah.
at that. Blueberry.
Cotton flower.
Blueberry.
Oh. Yeah, this is blueberry.
Blueberries.
And what is this? That's all I had.
Those are the pictures from Gopal Champu. Don't you have the pictures of the boxes of books?
No, he didn't send those to me.
We'll send those later.
Yes.
Okay, Avantika, tell us the cooks.
There is one question by Anant Prabhu in the Zoom chat.
Question.
Zoom chat, okay.
Ananta, is digital distribution counts? I have set of Chaitanya Charitamrita Srimad Bhagavatam on iTunes and Spotify. If somebody downloads it, is it the same as distributing a set? Yes.
Wow.
You get full credit for that.
We also have a way to send them the digital books. So if it's digital books, we can help them as well. We already distributed one Bhagavatam digitally, ebook.
Well, can you summarize that for us, please?
Yes, Prabhu. If somebody would like to distribute ebooks or apps, you can distribute it to them. One set of Srimad Bhagavatam digitally is $60. So we will send you the links, which you can share it with your friends, whoever has bought the Bhagavatam set or any other book for that instance. You can reach out to Malini Devi Dasi.
It's a donation of $60. It's $60, but everything you give over that is a donation. And actually, it's better if you say that the Bhagavatams come with a connection to the Bhagavatam classes, and that way it's bundled together, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or we can just say it as 250 also. I mean, it's up. I mean, however they like to give. They want
Okay.
to give 250.
Some people give 1,000
Yes.
or more.
Yeah.
Give Younga any advice that you'd like to give to the devotees here? He has to unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhus.
Hare Krishna Divyanga Prabhu.
Holy Ekadasi Vrata Ki Jai.
Jai.
My advice is to keep listening to Fan the Spark. And then just say yes when you say yes. Say yes. Now, when I went to the market this morning, most of the people at that market, was a farmer's market, was devotees. But I stuffed my pockets with some Higher Chase cookbooks. So I distributed 5 or 6 Higher Chase cookbooks at the market. And I just got inspired when you said we have to do this as our homework. So I just asked Radhe for the address of this, one of the student friends of hers that eats Krishna lunch every day. And he's very positive and very nice. So we're going to send out some books. And I don't want to be the only one tomorrow when you go, how many books did you send out? I go, oh, you know, you're making, as usual, you're making me do stuff. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good to see you, Div. Thank you for inspiring us.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Avantika, tell us who the cooks are for today. Where is she? There she is. She's on mute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Today's prasadam was cooked by Hansapriya Mataji, Radha Vallabh Prabhu, Bhaktavatsal Prabhu, Ujjwala Rasa Mataji, Ananda Mataji, Kameshri Mataji, Malini Mataji, Manjula Kanta Mataji, Siddhagata Prabhu, Varna Gopika Mataji, Sankirtan Prabhu, Radhika Prema Mataji, Mukta Mataji, Hema Mataji, Shama Karuna Mataji, Shama Bhakta Prabhu, Neela Mataji, and Bhumika Mataji.
Haribo!
There were some kids also who were found doing some cooking. Avantika, you know of those? I've been watching on some of the WhatsApp groups. A lot of kids are also cooking at home and enjoying the dinner. I think
I know everyone has baked a cake.
Madhav.
No cake today. Okay. I'm just going to leave you with one last point from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is from the 6th canto, 12th chapter, 15th verse. One who knows that the 3 qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are not qualities of the soul, but qualities of material nature, and who knows that the pure soul is simply an observer of the actions and reactions of these qualities, should be understood to be a liberated person. He is not bound by these qualities. Prabhupada's purport. As the Lord explains in Bhagavad Gita 1854, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na Shochati na Kangshati Samak Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labate Param. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state he attains pure devotional service unto me. When one attains self-realization, the Brahma Bhuta stage, one knows that whatever happens during his life is due to the contamination of the modes of material nature. The living being, the pure soul, has nothing to do with these modes. In the midst of the hurricane of the material world, everything changes very quickly. But if one remains silent and simply observes the actions and reactions of the hurricane, he is understood to be liberated. The real qualification of the liberated soul is that he remains Krishna consciousness, undisturbed by the actions and reactions of the material energy. Such a liberated person is always jubilant. He never laments or aspires for anything, since everything is supplied by the Supreme Lord. The living entity, being fully dependent on him, should not protest or accept anything in terms of his personal sense gratification. Rather, he should receive everything as the mercy of the Lord and remain steady in all circumstances. Sharit advijya jadendriya ta ha ha jive pele bishaya shagare dharma dedi boyati lobo moistu durmati take jeta Krishna Govinda Yamo Kori Bari Jikajai Shah Prasad Nadi Chaitanya Pao Radha Krishna Guna Gao Preme Daku Shri Chaitanya Gihipal Preme Daku Shri Chaitanya Gihipal Mahapashare Govinde Nam Kamani Vaishnave Sapa Punya Vikam Rajan Nagajayate Prasanam Manirasu Jayate Prasanati Suya Varyavati Shaganda Vasalinga Charchita Uchishta Tapamaya Jayimahi Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasada Ki Gaur Premanande Hari Bo 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 Please, there it is. Those are the books. Show the books.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, it's stuck. Just give me a second here.
There's no stopping them, Vice.
Yeah, let me share it again. Yeah, position it and share. Just give me a second here.
Boxes of books going out. That's what we need tomorrow, by tomorrow. Air containers. Hare Krishna. Vanshagopalvishta Kripasanabhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nantakoti Vaishnavindiki Jai. Thank you, everybody. Please, first and foremost, take care of yourselves. Be very, very careful. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Wear a mask. Stay away from everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Take prasadam.
Hare Krishna.
Just take prasadam.
And take Krishna prasadam to your full satisfaction.
Take shelter, Krishna.
Thank you so much. Manisha, where's mom?